looking for the true man of steel, he's sitting right here, everybody. Stay tuned for more, everyone. This is going to be fun. Giddy up. Well, the man of steel is sitting here, everyone. Not the same man of steel. More powerful, more influential, more dream building. Jake Miller, J&S Steel Buildings LLC. You're the go-to pre-engineered metal building erector in the Midwest. It's a great looking work there. Jake, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I tell you, I do enjoy having expert guests in here who are actually men of steel. Does that make? I'm not being too facetious. Is that the right word? I don't know. But literally, Jake builds buildings made out of steel versus, I guess most of your traditional homes are made out of wood.
Wood, stone, yeah.
Wood and stone, concrete.
Yep.
Are you building homes? You're building mostly businesses. And tell me what is the primary function for the metal buildings?
Primary can be many things. Right now we're putting together a building for a construction company actually, and it's going to be their offices, warehouse, and all that fun stuff. People do chalices, people do equine facilities, airplane hangars, which we've done, storage facilities, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, to put together a building, and I always make sure our mics are nice and sensitive. So Jake is such a nice guy. I'm like, you might have to yell a little bit with us here, Jake, because I want to make sure that our mic levels are equal. The audio always sounds different. But Jake, before we continue too much here, I want to talk about our sponsors, yourlittlecastle.com. We are sponsored by Carroll House Furniture because you like nice things in your little castle or your office building built by Jake, maybe here, right? J&S Steel Buildings. You probably have a lot of people buy furniture to put inside these buildings. Might get some of that from Carroll House. Could that be true?
They could, yeah.
Carroll House does sell across the country, everybody. If you're looking at, go to carrollhouse.com and partake in the luxurious and awesome furniture they have. We furnished two Airbnbs with that, and then that third one actually now too. And so Carroll House Furniture, because you like nice things in your little castle. I also shout out to our newest sponsor, and this has become a game changer for us for a lot of reasons, but they have such a powerful company behind you, nationwide, 100,000 members now, so my buddy is the number one distributor. His company's name is My Metal Pro, and if you're looking to buy gold, these guys just got smart and said, hey, how about we take it away from the stuff where you got to go to some place and they weigh it on some little thing and you don't know if they're giving you the right price or if it's 100% or 80% or 20. What is it? You say, hey, let's change the industry. We've got machines. We've got technology. You can much better manage this now. So My Metal Pro, Curtis Harlan, the number one distributor for the guys that he works with, 7K there. And Curtis is sponsoring the show. He's number one in the entire company. I was down at their conference down in Orlando a week ago. Or last weekend, and wow, they are doing amazing things to really kind of bring this whole metal and gold and silver to the forefront because it does become an incredible asset, and you can buy incremental amounts down to $1 worth. And we've priced this out. If you average out what some of these other shops and stuff do, they mark it up like 25% when you buy the smaller increments to add it up to what gets to an ounce. That's kind of, and you can see what the public price is for gold. Look it up every day. It's set at different changes, and then they add it up. It's like, well, that's another $800 they're tacking on if you buy it in small increments. These guys, it's the same price either way, down to $1 worth of gold. But if you look at the way gold has appreciated, especially the last couple of years, 26%, 25%, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yep.
That's crazy compared to the stock market on what a lot of people are getting out there. So a lot of people say get yourself some gold. It's a great investment long term, and these guys make it easy for My Metal Pro. And you can get more information from them more easily if you just want to find an easy place to go. Gold Cowboy bought that domain. It's a forwards onto my website there. And we got the Gold Cowboy at the top. You see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
I just did AI. I took my logo, put it in, I said, make it into a gold, and that's what it came out with. It came out with like 12 other versions. This is the one I think looked all right. But there's the interview we did with Jason Arfman. He is the CEO of 7K. And Curtis set me up with that interview. I was like, wow, we get to have him on. I'm holding up coins. You want to learn about that, go to Gold Cowboy, goldcowboy.com, and partake. It's a great way to do business. So, and to plan for your future and a lot of other things there you can do and learn about gold. So with that, I'm going to put up now the important part of what we're talking about here today. This gentleman, I have to give a lot of credit to because I'm like, wow, you got a pretty good looking website. Who did you pay to do that? He goes, me?
Yep, I did.
Talk about that briefly, if you will. Why did you decide you wanted to learn how to do your own website?
Well, there's lots of misconceptions out there I learned, and also a lot of people take your money and you don't really get much in return. And that was my experience. So I also wanted to learn about it so I know what goes into it and all that. So paid somebody $2,300 to teach me how to do it. So now I can build websites. I'm not planning on it, but I can.
I'd like to learn more about that. We should talk more later because I can teach websites in like 13 minutes. And it's just kind of a cookie cutter world now. And that's pretty much what you did there because there's nobody has to write code, HTML or PHP or Java or whatever you want to use. Python now has become real popular. Oh yeah, we're getting techie here, everybody. But the websites are all pretty much done. You just got to swap out your name. Don't get taken by somebody who's saying, I want to spend, you got to spend $3,000 on a website. You taught yourself, now forever you have that knowledge.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you, I spent more than $2,300 learning it, everybody. More like 400 hours a year for like 5 years before I got really good at it. And it's the way it goes now. More important is the marketing automation that gets built into that. And I've got some tips here I'm going to share with Jake. The marketing automation, we did Discovery, showed me who it is that they use to build a site. They host it, but the marketing automation stuff is not built in. And most of them don't do that. But I'm going to show them how to integrate some marketing automation because we're all individual small business owners. We can't answer every call. We can't follow up with every text. We can't set every appointment. Automation takes care of all that. We can't post every post. I showed him how he can post 90 posts across 7 platforms in about 4 minutes. I'll show you how to do that if you want to know. But good stuff. But you have become a master, no doubt, of steel buildings. Now, this is something that most people, okay, how do I get a steel building? I wouldn't know where to begin. Call Jake. He'll walk you through that. And you were working with somebody in partnership, et cetera, whatever, and then decided, hey, why don't I take this over and you go your way, I'll go mine, and you took this over, and now you made your own J&S Steel Buildings. You build these buildings like across the country?
Mostly
Midwest, but I mean.
Yeah, focusing on the Midwest, but yeah, we did a project in Houston this winter.
Okay.
Because it's warm.
Go south when the weather's colder in the northern part of the states, in Missouri or Missouri, depending where you're from. You might pronounce it either way. Yeah, it gets down in the 20s, 30s, 40s. We don't get as many below that. Sometimes that's the case, but go south, you got more work to do, and based it on a company that essentially helps people understand this. You have all the relationships with all the people necessary to make the building. You don't do 100% contract out. You got the main pieces you do. Other people help you finish up the other pieces. You can talk about that. But the important part is the structure, the metal big supports. Like, tell me, I'm going off the cuff with some of this, guys. We don't get to plan every part of our discussion, but or much of it actually. I try to keep it random. I got the questions here outlined, but I don't know what he's going to say, and I'm glad. But like I remember the soccer dome, and it was a big structure. The metal, and you could see the red posts that come up, and then it went across, and they gave a little bit of an angle to give that leverage from a triangle, right?
Yep.
So it didn't just crash. If you try to make a flat surface, you got to have posts in there, right? But that works, gravity and all that stuff, inertia. I don't know. Anyway. Bam! So now they're making these a lot more common for people to be able to quickly put up a building that looks beautiful. Look at the work. We're going to show some of the pictures he's got here. Tell me how this works and why you decided this is what you wanted to do.
Well, it was 2019 when I quit commercial roofing, basically, because I was getting tired of shoveling rocks. And a friend of mine was doing the steel, and he needed help, so I went and helped him. And it didn't take me long. I was like, I like this. This is a lot of fun. And it's easy for me, and I've always enjoyed building stuff. So,
tell me more about that. I mean,
I started out doing work for a guy. We were building custom homes, very detailed stuff. I can do detailed. I just don't want to do homes, but I can. And then I got connected up with this, and yeah, bounced around a little bit, figured it out, and got started doing on my own.
Hey, the epitome of an entrepreneur, somebody out there. There's a need. You see a place where you can help our little planet, and started your own steel building company, everybody. Like some of us, hey, nothing against my donut shop buddies. We need donuts, not quite as a task to undertake, I would imagine. Sounds like it. I guess once you know what you're doing, everything's easy once you know what you're doing. Not easy, but it's easier than just saying, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm going to become the president of the United States. Okay, that's a long process. I don't know if anybody who wants to be that guy. That'd be crazy. Either, I don't care what party, what side you're on. That's a lot of pressure. But hey, start a steel company. Wow. And you're impacted by, I guess, some of that as I bring it up, steel and trade. But you help people sort that all out and say, here's what you can get a steel building for. Yep. This is what it costs. This is what you're going to have to build it. And we'll make something beautiful for you so that you can run your business. And what yep. people using this for their businesses 90% of the time.
Yeah, businesses, warehouses, airplane hangars, storage, equine facilities and stuff like that.
So tell me, I mean, as I get into this a little bit, you've been doing, give me the timeline again. You've been running your own company now here for, how long has it been exactly?
Almost a year and a half.
A year and a half. And before that, you were working for a long time. And before that, you were in construction and all the related stuff.
Yep.
So I guess that's what helped you realize, hey, I'm not going to do every piece of the work, but I know the guys to bring in. Is that,
pretty much, yeah.
Because if you don't know the guys to bring in, that's another whole monster. Yeah. Like if you don't know those guys, then you're really asking for problems.
Yep.
But then you said, but the steel construction piece, that's just a neat caveat. A lot of construction guys out there, they build houses and they build decks and all that stuff. Wonderful work, awesome. But man, building a steel building, that's pretty cool. And now, is this kind of taken off? Is this the way buildings are built now? I mean, I guess you have your big corporate buildings and they got the big glass and all that stuff. But for all the things you talked about, especially warehouses, storage, and even office buildings. I'm looking at what you got on the wall. Great looking office you can make out of these too. Is that right?
Yeah, office buildings, and there's in the last several years, what they call tilt-ups. They're concrete. They're kind of doing the bigger warehouses. Steel kind of staying with the smaller warehouses.
Okay. And that will allow you to give a better price overall, because when you get down to everything ultimately comes down to cost versus value.
Right.
Yep. And you'll be able, how long does it typically take to erect a steel building like this? I guess it all depends on weather and what the features they want and all that, but
yeah, it depends on the detail. The one we're on right now, we're finishing that up for somebody else. I think it's taken them, they were on it for a month, and we've been there going on 3 weeks now. So we're finishing up the roof, the siding, and everything. So depends on the detail a lot. You can go anywhere from 2 weeks to 3 months.
You can have a house built in 2 weeks, or building built in 2 weeks.
Yeah. If
it's one of the basic ones, but like literally, like, we've got an event 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
We got to start setting up the event for. You can start from scratch. Does that include the cement base and all that too, or?
No, that wouldn't. The concrete would be there, and we show up, and we've done a 50 by 80 in 3 days. That's about 14 hours a day.
The man of steel, everybody. Like literally, he doesn't lift the building on his shoulders and carry it into the room, but pretty darn close, it sounds like. They come with all the parts, and in 3 days, they got a cement slab. You erect.
The cement was there.
Yeah, so they've got a cement slab already ready there for you.
Yep.
That's pretty easy to do. I mean, don't get me wrong. We've had talk to my buddies from our cement show that we did. It was awesome. Man, those are some cool guys. They got a great resort up here in Eolia too. Check that out. They built their own getaway there for weddings and those kinds of things. But they got the cement. You walk in and do they say, hey, by the way, when you lay the cement, put some metal screws in the cement to make it ready for the mount for the.
Usually that's all laid
plan that
out
a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
And then that goes. All right. So a little bit of coordination. The cement guys, I know they can come in and lay their stuff. Now cement takes a couple days to dry, at least a week or so. The cure. Okay.
Yeah.
The cure, they call that, right?
Yep.
But literally, then so add another week, maybe more. Don't call my cement buddies. They were on the show not too long ago, but they. So maybe it's a week, maybe it's 2 weeks. But now you're talking 5 weeks max combined. What?
Yeah.
Superman, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. All right. What is it about this that ultimately fuels your passion? As it gets down to something like you got this is empowering, man. You're like, hey, you got nothing? Give me 5 weeks.
Yeah, big structures, really quick, and they look nice if you do a good job. Yeah, and I just enjoy building stuff.
He likes building stuff, everybody. I mean, who doesn't? But I mean, that is kind of very. Don't we all like to build things as kids, boys in particular? I guess now these days, how many how many girls now get into it and say, "Daddy did this," or maybe Mom did this, and now girls are out there building too. So I think it's awesome, no matter what. Everybody know my mom, like she's conquered the world. You don't mess with Mrs. R. My mom, I love her. She's amazing. Building named after her, actually. It's not a metal building though. It's an auditorium. Maybe we can build a new one. Whatever.
Whatever works.
Very cool. Well, kudos to you for that. Great reviews out there. A lot of things being said already. I'm going to put up on the wall here. Susie, great work. Very professional. Looking for a lot of the work he's done there. But if you want to look at a lot of the photos, that's what we want to show a little more. A lot of those are available on your Facebook and some on the website. We'll share with everybody the website and everything in a minute. But take a look at the Facebook page, because I start clicking through some of these images. And if you don't mind, turn your head to the right. Tell me what we're looking at here, and I'll put it up on the wall for everybody to understand. What kind of building is that?
So that is another equine facility for a cowboy church. That's their riding arena where they have their events where people come together to raise money.
A cowboy church. They
Yeah.
call that a church. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I'm a cowboy.
It's a thing.
And I don't know about cowboy churches.
Yeah.
I'm a steel horse I ride. But that literally, that's all metal. How big is that building?
That's 140 wide by 200 some long. Yeah, it's a clear span. 140 clear span.
140 feet.
Mhm.
Okay, that's amazing. All right, I'm going to keep scrolling through here, though. Holy cow.
That's a fireworks warehouse.
Okay, that would be a good one to have made out of metal.
Yeah.
So, all right. And these are buildings all you built?
Yeah.
Holy cow. I'm impressed, everybody. I'd like to build stuff, too. All right. Is that a two-story thing, or what's going on there?
No, they just want really tall shelves, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
It could be 2 stories pretty easily.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, garage might go into both stories, but bottom line, that's a tall building, as they would say.
Yep.
And there we go. Some more of your message about some beautiful scenery here. But that building on the bottom of this photo, is it more of it there, or that's two different buildings?
That's just a picture of sunset because I like sunsets.
Okay, but is the building there part of that?
Yep,
That's
I
one of your
was
buildings?
actually doing that's the first one I did of those hoop building thingies.
Gotcha. All right. And
That's a building I did. They came in and put it in solar, and I was finishing up working on the roof, and I just took a picture of sunset again.
holy cow. All right. We want to give the shot. That is beautiful stuff, man. Those sunsets you get to see right off the buildings. Now that's that other one I was looking at. This is another angle for that sunset going over there.
Probably different.
Tell me
day.
what kind of a building is this that you're?
This is I forget the name of him. This guy, he just got the building for free and decided to put it up and live in it. He insulated it.
Really?
Built inside of lives in it.
Got everything you need in a regular house, just a little bit different looking.
Yeah.
Bathrooms and showers and
Yeah, he put
kitchens
everything
and
in it. Yep.
Okay, that's pretty cool too. Interesting. All right. Continue on here with a couple more. Another angle on that same house and that solar again. There we go. Now here's an infrastructure. This is what goes on the insides. This is the structure, the guts, the skeleton, or some people may call that. Is that one of yours, obviously?
Yeah, that's the fireworks warehouse. Yeah.
That is the same place. It's the fireworks warehouse. Take a look at that one, everybody, and see how this thing looks. There's that metal. I'm sorry, thanks to our sponsor, My Metal Pro there, by the way, everybody. But that's that cement slab. How thick is that cement slab? How deep is that?
Most of them are about 6 inches. The concrete itself, the footer on the outside is usually about 2 feet wide by sometimes 3 feet deep, depending on the size of the building.
Okay, and then you just start putting in your struts and supports. It doesn't look that complicated, except this is not easy to work with. You got to have some pretty hefty machinery here to hoist those up, and then some knowledge about how you secure them, because you don't want somebody who doesn't know what they're doing putting together the joints on these things, right?
Yep.
Okay.
For sure.
There you go. And how far should we go here? Wow, there's another great big. There's the slab, right?
Yep.
And here come the structures that they're doing with this to make it look. Wow, those are some thick metal pieces though. Now those, I guess they're not solid metal, but they're wraps, or they're square. They're kind of like what are those made out of? What are those actual pieces of metal?
They're steel, yeah.
They're steel, all the way thick, all the way through?
No, the girts going across wise, they're about, I think, 14 gauge, I believe.
14 gauge, that's pretty thick, okay.
Yeah.
And definitely going to be strong enough to hold a lot of. Do these things withstand hurricanes and tornadoes much more readily than our lovely wooden houses?
I would imagine.
Yeah.
I don't build in that area, so I don't know.
Okay.
Hurricane area.
But I mean, that's
yeah.
got to be much stronger because of just, I mean, you've got bolts holding together the pieces instead of screws or nails.
Yeah.
And so a lot more goes into that. Okay.
Every building's engineered to specific location they're going to.
Gotcha.
For wind load, snow load.
Ah,
all
okay.
that.
Yeah. They say here's the structure because each town has their own code.
Yep. Every town has its own code. Every zip code, they go off of zip codes.
Okay.
Yep.
And then build it. Okay. A little bit more here. And so is this a vinyl finish you put up underneath?
Yeah.
Sure?
It's called a simple saver. You put in the vinyl on the bottom, you glue it, and there's bandings going underneath it, and then you roll out your insulation and screw your roof on top of the metal purlins.
Okay.
Yep.
Very cool. And something awesome that people can appreciate, that because you got to make it water resistant, waterproof as best you can, because water 100%. Like, you couldn't dunk the building in water and hope that every single. But the roof, you want to make sure it's covered. And that, what
Yep.
kind of vinyl is that, you said?
It's just vinyl. On the bottom side is white, so if you look up, it looks nice and finished on the inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they color it blue just because.
Then that's on the upside of it, so that way you don't do it put it in upside down.
Blue up, white down. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Expertise here. You got to learn these things, or else you may mess up your building that you are getting constructed. All right. Well, we covered quite a bit there. That's some impressive work. Tell me though, give me that cost analysis. If somebody else is shopping this and they're saying, I need a building built, what other options are there? I mean, I guess I'm trying to think of what else there is nowadays. Is this pretty much what people do? I mean, you have your regular traditional big construction company comes in and says, we're going to build it level by level and put up the brick. And
Right.
I mean, how much savings do you have by doing it this way in general? Any idea what the difference in those has got to be? 20 to 30, 50% less.
I really don't know, but just to build a regular steel structure, you're looking at anywhere from $45 a square foot up to $65 or more, depending on what kind of trim level you're doing, how fancy you get with it, what you're doing on the inside with it.
Okay. Versus what would the cost be otherwise? I guess when you get into, and these people will pay. I just feel like now so many people are going away from corporate big buildings because we're working from home so much more often.
Right.
But you're saying, but for storage, warehouse, airplane hangars, there's no other option. You got to go call my buddy Jake at J&S Steel Buildings. This is the answer.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out another way.
And
I've seen these buildings. I just didn't know anybody who actually ever built them. So
yeah.
thanks for coming in and talking about it.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, pretty impressive stuff. But the cost analysis, you'll be able to figure out pretty quickly. And I don't have any problem with the big construction guys. We've had them on our shows. It's just a different strategy for what you're going to put together. A nice, beautiful glass building.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to cost a little different, right? The cost what's your ROI? What do you need for that to do that? What would you say if you had to really analyze the matter of the work you've done? And you've worked in the construction space for a long time now. What's one thing that sets you apart? And I guess there are some other metal building companies around the country, but what do you think you do better than anybody else when it comes to getting these done?
I'm there every step of the way.
Okay, I like that answer. That's when the cowboy hat comes out. All right.
You're not talking to office person who sends you off to somebody else.
Right.
You're talking directly to me.
And you're the guy. He had a call come in. We both had a call come in a little bit earlier. I had to follow up with something. He was following up with something as we do our game prep. And I was like, can I take this? I think it was something. I thought it might have been somebody for my mom. Mom always comes first. If mom's on her own now, dad's up in heaven. But I heard you talking like, do this, something with the pie. I don't know what you're talking about, but literally I'm like, sounds like he knows what he's doing to make sure all this comes together. That's important. You've done this long enough now, knowing your many years in construction. Hey, and they're calling you. Your guy's working for you. They're calling you. You're the boss. Here's how you do this. This is why it should be that way. Please just do what I ask, kind of thing. Right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Because you got to make your customer happy.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, how much are business owners depending on this? I mean, obviously, they can't function. They can't run their business without these kinds of facilities. Running out of your home is one way to run a business. Most people would love to do that. And if you can, run your business out of there. But for the people who can't, you've got to have a structure that is dependable, durable. Electricity, air conditioning, all of those things can be incorporated into this as well. How does that work?
Yeah. You can the one we're doing right now is a very low slope roof, so the units get set on the roof. And yeah, they just run all of their power, everything they need gets connected to it.
And so literally the electrical wires, just they've got conduit or whatever it is, it goes through along the side of the metal, and if they want to cover that with an inside finishing, it looks like the inside of a regular office, I guess.
Yep.
If with the same finishings on the inside, it's just the outside that's different.
Yep.
All right. I get to learn a lot, everybody. Despite what y'all may think, I get to learn a lot. So I don't always portray how much I learn because my brain is kind of, I'm getting old, guys. Come on. But we reiterate. They talk about, tell me again. All right. Well, I want then as we finish up this half hour, we got a lot more to talk about in the second half hour. We're gonna have you come in and talk about that here. Stay for me for another 30 minutes, if you will. We took about an hour to get everything set up because we were talking about all kinds of stuff and how I like to give people tips about how to run their social media and stuff all on their own without having to pay somebody a lot of money to do that. But we talked a little bit about that. If you need questions about that, let me know. But what is the big mistake that somebody makes? It could be a large number of mistakes. And how many people know? They're just like, I'm a business. I need a warehouse. I need a place to store things. They don't know anything more than that other than I need a building. Somebody help me. And there's a big mistake they could make. What would that be if you said there's a big mistake that is often made that you've seen?
One that I've seen is be sure that your erector is reputable.
I think that goes without saying, but you would figure out. But yeah, my brother-in-law knows somebody. Look at their website.
Yeah.
Look at their reviews, both of which we've got here. We showed you some of that, and a good-looking website, and get to know them a little bit. That's why we do these shows, because I like to be able to see. And I'd heard good things. We did a little research on you. You asked me how it was we came about you. I said, I don't know, because I've got two awesome assistants. They run the company, really, and make everything right. And I have them research. And I said, here's the things we're looking for. Here's the type of people we're looking for. And they stumbled across yours, and I was like, this is going to be a cool one. I called you personally the other day.
Yeah.
And I said, man, would you come on and talk about this? Because this is cool. I don't get to talk about this kind of. How often? What percentage of the buildings out there are made this way? I guess you're in that commercial realm. If you're going versus residential, it's two separate worlds.
Yeah, big time. Percentage of steel, I don't know. Yeah, to be honest.
Well, you're the one. Just whenever they call, you're there for them when they need it, right?
Pretty much.
You figured out how to take this on from a migration of doing things otherwise in the construction space, and said, hey, this is my niche. I enjoy doing these things.
Yeah.
It kind of gives you the opportunity to carve out your little niche on our planet.
Yep.
And service the Midwest, everybody. So if you look at where they do service, jssteelbuildings.com, they service the entire Midwest region, even down south a little bit, but wherever you need to go, as long as the numbers all work out, right? It's got to be that win-win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
The construction guy, so the supplier, the guy who's building it, and the consumer.
Right.
If not everybody's making a fair deal, this thing doesn't work for everybody.
Correct.
That's a good way to. And if you look at some of the good messages that are on his website, you got a biblical verse there. I appreciate. What is that for? I was raised at a Lutheran schools all my life and Catholic for college and grad school, but didn't read the Bible as much maybe as I thought I should have. But when you get down to it, then it's a matter of, and that was essentially stick with it, right?
Pretty much.
Stick with it. Look that one up, everybody. All right, stay tuned for more, buddy. We're going to be back in another bit here for our second show. Giddy up.